Ever heard that phrase, everything but the kitchen sink?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what we're tackling in today's deep dive luxury rehab facilities. Like, what do these places actually offer? Why are they so expensive? And do those luxury perks actually help people recover?
It really makes you think, right? Most people, I think, they see rehab as like one size fits all. But luxury rehab is, well, different.
Totally. We're talking private villas,
Yeah.
therapy with horses, even like gourmet chefs, a far cry from the, that image of like a stark clinical environment.
Yeah.
But before we go too far, let's back up a bit.
Hmm.
A lot of people listening are probably wondering how these facilities are different from regular rehab centers.
Okay, so both types provide the essentials, 24/7 care, a place to live, and of course, medical professionals, to oversee the whole recovery thing. You have to have that. But then, luxury rehab, it's like they take it to a whole other level.
Exactly. So it's like they take those core parts of addiction treatment, detox, rehabilitation support afterwards, and just wrap it all up in a super fancy package.
Hmm.
But is that all it is? Like, are they just being fancy, or is there a reason?
That's where the whole idea of like treating the whole person, holistic treatment, they call it, comes in. Addiction, it affects everything, right? Your
Yep.
mind, your body, how you feel about yourself, the whole picture. Luxury rehab tries to address all of that stuff, but in an environment that doesn't feel so, I don't know, institutional, more like a place where you could actually heal. Picture like serene gardens, calming colors, a real sense of peace and privacy, not something you usually picture with rehab.
Yeah, it's like the difference between recovering in a busy hospital and like a peaceful retreat somewhere.
Exactly.
I can see how that change of scenery could really make a difference to someone.
Absolutely. And it's not to say that those standard rehabs are bad or anything, but there's more and more evidence that the environment matters, that individualized care matters.
Okay, so the environment itself is part of the healing. Makes sense. But what about the actual treatment? The stuff we saw in the research was really interesting.
Right. We're talking highly personalized care here, and they can do that because they have way fewer clients per staff member.
Oh, right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you have tons of patients, you can't really give everyone their own treatment plan, right?
Exactly.
So smaller groups means more focused attention from the therapist.
You got it. That level of attention means they can create a plan that really fits the person, their needs, their history, even their personality. Recovery is different for everyone, and that's where you get those unique therapies you were talking about: art therapy, aromatherapy, even working with horses.
Like I said, everything but the kitchen sink, huh? But seriously, what's the idea behind all that?
It all comes back to that holistic thing, like equine therapy with the horses. You're not just, riding around. It's more about learning how to communicate, how to care for something other than yourself. For people who are trying to rebuild trust, learn to manage all those like intense feelings, develop better coping skills, it can be like really powerful.
So engaging different parts of the brain that they might not use in regular talk therapy.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we can't forget that a lot of times addiction is about wanting to escape, right?
Right.
To numb out all the bad feelings.
Right.
These other therapies can give people healthy ways to deal with their emotions, with stress.
Okay, that makes sense. When I first heard about luxury rehab, I have to be honest, I pictured like a private island somewhere,
Yeah.
completely cut off from the world.
Yeah.
But the research we looked at, that's not really the case.
Not always. Lots of these luxury facilities, they get that staying connected is important, especially when it comes to work and family and all that.
So you don't have to like disappear completely.
Right. A lot of them will let you use the phone, your laptop, all supervised, of course, so you can keep up with some of the stuff in your normal life.
So if you're worried about like work piling up or feeling totally out of control, they've got you covered.
Yep, they've thought of that, and for some people that's huge. It could be the difference between going to rehab or not.
That makes sense. So for all the listeners out there thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but how can I actually afford this? Let's be real for a second. This stuff is expensive.
It is, yeah. We're talking about a serious investment here, like
Yeah.
really serious. Some of these places, they can cost anywhere from $30,000 to $100,000 per month.
Wow, okay. So this isn't just adding on a couple massages to a regular rehab program.
No, not even close. And it's important to understand, like, what you're paying for. The staff at those places, they make more money because they're the best in the field. You've got way more staff for fewer clients, which means more attention for you. And of course, you've got those high-end amenities, all the special therapies we've been talking about. They're going all out to make this perfect healing environment.
Okay, so it's more than just like the fancy sheets and the gourmet food.
Right.
Although I'm sure that's a nice bonus. But it's about going above and beyond with the care they provide. But is it worth it, though? I mean, that's the million-dollar question,
Oh,
right?
yeah. It really is. And it's not an easy answer. It really depends on the person. How bad is the addiction? Who do they have supporting them on the outside? How much money can they actually spend? How committed are they to getting better? There's a lot to think about.
So it's a balancing act, right?
Yeah,
Weighing those benefits against the cost and what you can actually afford.
exactly. And don't forget insurance. Coverage for this stuff can be, well, complicated. Some policies might cover part of it, but not nearly as much as they would for a regular rehab program.
So it's not as easy as just checking your insurance card and hoping for the best.
Nope. You really have to read the fine print. And sometimes, yeah, you might end up paying for all of it yourself.
Good to know. Okay, so we've talked about the costs, that whole holistic approach, the super personalized treatment plans. That's a lot to process. Just occurred to me, with all this talk about special therapies and custom treatment plans, getting into one of these luxury places must be uh, pretty involved, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's not like you just, walk in and say, help me.
Right.
They really go all out during the intake process. That's something they emphasized a lot in what we looked at.
What does that look like? Like, what do they actually do?
Well, they're trying to get the full story on you.
Okay.
Like, they'll do a deep dive into your history with substance use, do mental health evaluations, see if there's anything else going on there that might be contributing to the addiction.
Oh, right. So it could be, like, connected to something else.
Yeah, exactly. They even do physical health screenings because, let's face it, you can't just treat one part of a person.
Right.
Right.
It's all connected. So
Exactly.
they're trying to connect all those things, past experiences, how you're feeling now, your overall health, to come up with, like, a roadmap for recovery.
Right. And that brings up another thing about luxury rehab that's really important: privacy.
Ah.
Asking for help with addiction, that's really personal, and it can be scary.
Absolutely. And let's be real. A lot of people, they don't want everyone knowing their business, especially if they're used to having a certain lifestyle.
Exactly. And that's where the whole, luxury aspect comes in. We're talking private rooms, staff that are super discreet, and they're really committed to keeping things confidential. For some people, like celebrities or whatever, that kind of privacy is everything.
It lets them just focus on getting better without having to worry about what other people are thinking.
Exactly. It's about making a space where they feel safe enough to open up, to deal with the hard stuff, and hopefully come out the other side stronger and healthier.
We've covered a lot today. All that stuff about fancy amenities, the therapies, how personalized it is, the privacy. It's a lot.
Yeah, it really is.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the main points you want listeners to walk away with?
I think the biggest thing is to remember that this isn't just about fancy hotels or whatever. It's about going above and beyond to provide a more complete and personalized approach to dealing with addiction. Whether it's the right choice, well, that depends on the individual, their situation, their resources, what's important to them.
Well said. We've really dug into luxury rehab, trying to see what's really going on beneath the surface. It's not like a magical cure, but it's definitely something that could be a good fit for some people more than others.
At the end of the day, it's all about finding what works for each person so they can break free from addiction and get their life back.
Totally agree. Now, here's something for everyone to think about as you learn more about this topic. We talked about how important the environment is in luxury rehab, right? But what about when treatment is over? Can you take those ideas about holistic healing, about being mindful, and make them part of your everyday life, even without all the fancy stuff? Something to think about as you navigate the world of addiction and recovery. Until next time, keep on learning.